Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Dave's Faves. And I've been talking quite a bit recently. I mean, if this is the year 27,385, then it's not so recent. But as part of this clump of videos, I've been doing the best recordings of Vladimir Ashkenazy and the big Ashkenazy solo box. And so I thought I would do an Ashkenazy Dave's Fave, which is not one of my list of his 10 best, but it could have been. It very easily could have been, but I did quite a bit of talking about his relationship to Russian composers, Shostakovich and Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff and Prokofiev. So I thought, well, I'll do one that's outside the box. It's this one. This is a recording that's not very well known. Prokofiev Symphonies 6 and 7 with the Cleveland Orchestra. It is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Now, with Prokofiev 6, we tend to think of Nimi Yarvi, for example, who's really fabulous in that work, and maybe a couple other people who have done the complete symphonies. And 7 is one of those it's a stepchild among the Prokofiev symphonies because it's very beautiful and tuneful and lovely. But it's not as dark or deep or serious as 5 and 6. And everybody says, he was failing and his inspiration wasn't going, and it was sort of retrogressive harmonically. I don't care. It's just full of great tunes. And Ashkenazy, by the way, does the original ending, the quiet ending, the enigmatic ending. And it's very funny, when you think about the end of Prokofiev 7, you've got the percussion just ticking away, dun, dun, da, dun, 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 da, dun, like that. And it slowly evaporates and ends, quite similar in its way to the Shostakovich 15. Shostakovich's ticking percussion off into eternity endings. But it's much earlier, of course, because Prokofiev died in 1953, the same time, the same day as Joseph Stalin. So maybe Prokofiev had something, came up with something first there. I don't know. I'm just saying. But these are fabulous performances with the Cleveland Orchestra. A lot of Ashkenazy's best recordings as a conductor were with Cleveland, and Decca's best recordings, a lot of them were in Cleveland. So we're in business, we really are. The Sixth is wonderfully done. So many performances of the Sixth are just underplayed. And they're boring. It's not an easy work to do, especially that huge middle movement. It has some real dead spots that conductors need to know how to get through. And Ashkenazy knows how to get through them. It's a lively interpretation. It's an intelligent interpretation. It's played to the hilt. It's recorded extremely well. And the irony, let's see, when was this recorded? Let's just see, just for my own perverse interest here. Here we go. It was recorded in Severance Hall in 1993. Yeah, it's about what I thought. This was the time when Decca was tanking. I mean, they really were. It was the whole industry was blowing up. They made all kinds of recordings. I don't know what year this was released, but they made a lot of recordings in Cleveland with Dochnady in the Cleveland Orchestra, with Ashkenazy and other people, and they released them like as if they were embarrassed that they existed. They had no promotion. There was nothing behind them. There was no kind of interest. Nobody talked about them. They didn't send us critics, promotional copies so we could review them. They didn't want to be bothered at all. They'd done them. They wasted the money, they felt, and they had to release them, and then they deleted them as quickly as they possibly could. It really was just an astonishing thing to watch happening from my perspective as a journalist, because some of these things were marvelous, but we didn't have an opportunity to sort through them, to let them soak in, because there was so much stuff coming out everywhere. And there would be a time. There would have been a time when a recording of Prokofiev 6 and 7 with the Cleveland Orchestra, with Vladimir Ashkenazy, who's one of the great Russian musicians, as a pianist and as a conductor, it would have been a big deal. Really a big deal. As it was, this was just tossed out there and deleted. And that was it. And I am so happy that I got it when I did, because it's wonderful. It's absolutely as good as anything out there. And this Prokofiev 6 is one of the great ones. Surely one of the small handful of great recordings of a really great but difficult work. It's difficult emotionally, expressively, and it's difficult interpretively. It's hard to pull together. And Ashkenazy does a fabulous job with it, and he deserves full credit. And so, even if I've talked about these pieces before, even if I like other versions, and I do, this is definitely one of my faves. And if you get a chance to listen to it, give it a shot. Even if I didn't stick it in the 10 best list, it's still great. I mean, if I had done 12 best, this would have been there. So there you go. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.